Hey everybody, Chris here with Klingspor's Woodworking Shop. Today, we're going to extend on our CNC series and we're going to talk about you bought one, now what? Because a lot of times once you decide on a machine, you bring it home, you're really not sure what accessories or tools or additional things you might want to have available to work your projects. So we're going to talk a little bit about just some of those things today. Obviously, every tool on here does not need to be used, and there are some tools not on here that you may want for your particular application. So let's dive right in. So first thing we're going to talk about is, well, you got a CNC, you are going to need some bits. Well, we've kind of taken a lot of the guesswork out of that game for you. We've talked about these at length before. These are these custom sets that we've had made through Amana. These are fantastic. We have two sets that are 4-piece sets, and the only difference between the two is this surfacing bit here. So each bit has an 1/8 inch, a 1/4 inch, and a 60-degree V bit. So the 1/8 inch and the 1/4 inch end mills are down cut, and then we've just swapped out this 1/2 inch surfacing bit for a 1/4 inch surfacing bit. So depending on which machine you've got, you may not have the capability of using a 1/2 inch shank. Well, then the AMS 001 will be the way to go. If you do have a 1/2 inch shank option, well, then the AMS 002. Well, maybe you don't need a surfacing bit. So what we've done is we've packaged this really cool 8-piece set, and that certainly will get it done. This has a 1/16, 1/8, and 1/4 inch end mills, both up and down cut, as well as a 60-degree and a 90-degree V bit. The beauty of this is you open the box, you got everything you need really to get started in just about any kind of CNC work you plan on doing. So we've got these sets pre-made, ready to go. And of course, we sell a full array of all of those bits separately as well. So whether you're looking for a Klingspor bit, a Mana bit, Freud bit, we've got you covered on all those bases. We carry all these end mills, and as you can see, this is a high quality carbide bit here. This happens to be the Klingspor RD2100. This is their 1/4 inch bit, 1/4x1. Nice little bit to have on hand. So we do have those. If you're starting to dabble and you want to get into 3D work, well, we do carry a full array of these bits here as well, these little tapered ball nose. We've got these anywhere from 1/4 inch standard ball nose all the way down. Let me see if I can get that a little better for you. All the way down to the 1/32 ball nose. Full line of these, especially in the Spectra. I love these, are my go-to bits. So anything in between, we've got you covered on those. When you get into the bits, anything from 1/4 to 1/2, all your standard bits are available through woodworkingshop.com. You can check out our catalog. You can come into one of the local stores and we'll be happy to help you out, answer any questions you have on any of the bits that we offer. But bits are definitely top of the list. And well, like the name said, like it's all the old phrase always says, you get what you pay for. The higher quality bits are a little more expensive, but you get longer life, better cut quality, and overall better performance. So in my opinion, the higher quality bits are worth their money. So moving on from the bits, the other thing we want to talk about is some of the common tools you might need. That can range in a variety of things, but the most common tool that I find myself using is a vernier caliper. Now you can get these in a dial. You can also get them in digital. This particular one, and I'll see if I can't turn this on and we'll let you see what that looks like. You can see this is a nice digital readout. This is available in both metric and fraction, as well as the decimal. You just simply change the button to get your different readout. And that's very handy because a lot of times in CNC, you do have to be able to adapt and adjust your workpiece to the different material settings. So if you've got this thing set at a certain thickness in your software, this enables you to make sure that your part is in fact measured accordingly. So a vernier caliper is definitely one of the tools that I recommend. Obviously a tape measure. We talked about these not long ago. This is one of those really cool bilingual tape measures that reads both in standard as well as metric. So some machines are set up in metric. So it's handy to have this. So you got inch on top, metric on the bottom. We do have these in the catalog and on the website. So feel free to check those out. If you're in a good market for a tape measure, a lot of benefits to these little fast cap. Not only are you getting a decent tape measure that reads all different ways, but you're also getting a pencil sharpener as well as a writing surface right here on the front. So check out the tape measures and all the different measuring tools you might need for your CNC application. You won't use these much, but occasionally you do need a little square. We've got these little tri-squares here that work pretty good. We also carry a full array of various traditional squares and different arrangements accordingly. If you do a lot of work and you're using tabs to hold your part, We carry something as basic as this little trim saw. This works good for cutting those tabs free, as well as a full range of all of the fine multi-master tools and the different blades that are available for that. If you wanted to go a little more power, I personally like that option myself, a little faster, a little quicker. So an array of tools, you're going to find that we've got everything you need there, whether it's measuring, marking, or just keeping everything square, we got you covered. Moving on from the tools, well, you got to have a way of holding your part down to your machine. Now, when you start getting into that, that'll vary depending on what kind of table you have, which we'll talk about that shortly. But the benefit of knowing how you're going to hold it down is important. Are you going to clamp it down, or are you going to use some sort of cam system and clamp it in? Either way you go, we've got you covered, whether you want to buy a clamp or whether you want to make your own. That's also an option. So we're going to cover just some of the clamping options that we do have available ready to go. So we carry a couple of different clamps right out of the gate. These are very economical options. These are traditional hold downs. As you can see, these are the ones that came with this particular shark. The big difference is, well, this is a little bigger. It's got this little rubberized end on it. We do carry these in our stores and in our catalog. And what you'll find with this is just a standard steel clamp. It is slightly bent, just like this is. It does come with your knob as well as your bolt. They'll be able to slide that in most of your tracks. So we've got these available. We also have this little cam clamp. This is available in quarter 20. One of the nice things about this is, and I'll maybe try to get you a little closer up shot, as you can see, this all operates off of this little pivot right there. And that allows you to cam up or cam down to lock your part in. Now, you would put something in between this. For instance, if you were making your own clamp, you would run this part and then you would put the bolt up through there to lock that down on your workpiece. So there's a lot of versatility with these little cam clamps. They're real quick, as opposed to having to constantly unscrew and screw down a nut to tighten it down. This is just, once you get it close, you can cam that up and cam that down, and you're in and out if you're doing a lot of production type work. So having the clamps available certainly works. If you get into that, we offer the Axiom clamps as well. And as you can see, they're very similar to the ones that come with the Shark. Little nicer knob, but they don't have the nice dipped end, but they are rounded on the end. That's kind of important. Instead of having a square surface, say like with this clamp here, you can see this is nice and rounded, whereas this is square. That does give you the flexibility to have a little variance as your part is adjusted up or down. You can make these little wooden clamps. I happen to make these quite often. And as you can see, it's just got a little bird's mouth right here. And that literally will just clamp right down on your workpiece. So if this is my workpiece, this would clamp right there and allow me to have, full functionality and adjust this accordingly. Now, if I have plenty of room, I can really torque that over on it and lock that down very well. So whether you're making your own or you want something that we offer, in one of the packs, we've got you covered, and we can get these for you at woodworkingshop.com or, like, again, through the catalog. So as far as clamping and holding down, you've got these mechanical here that are purchased. You can make something simple like this. Also, if you've got a part that maybe you can't have clamps on because for whatever reason, you need to have full access to the whole surface of your workpiece. Well, in that case, you're going to go to the old standard, either double-sided tape, or you can use the painter's tape and the CA glue method. And I'll kind of explain both of these. Now, this particular roll is a 2-inch wide. This is much heavier than the 3/4-inch wide roll that we normally offer that you'll see on our website. We do offer these. This is available. You can order this through our phone lines or in our local stores. This is a wider 2-inch roll, and it's a much thicker tape than the thinner 3/4. The reason being is it's traditionally going to hold a larger surface workpiece, or it needs to be held down much tighter, especially if you're running an end mill around your part. So this is available. I love this. I use this in my shop all the time. If you don't want to deal with the whole double-sided tape, well, you can go with the painter's tape and the CA glue. We happen to offer our painter's tape here, the Klingspor tape, in 2-inch wide as well as 1-inch wide. And how that traditionally would work, and I'll give you a quick demo of that just as a quick tip in the video, if I can get the tape to come off. What you would do is, if you were going to be taping, maybe, Guess I should have started that first. All right. So if we were going to tape this piece, for instance, we would run a piece of tape on this part like that. We would run another piece of tape wherever we're going to place that on the table, like so. Then we would take this piece, we would take some medium. I prefer the medium, it's much better for this application. We could just put a couple of dots of medium on this part. We'd simply roll that over and we would press it down and hold it for a few seconds. And then what happens is you have the tape here protecting your table, you have the tape here protecting your part, and the end result is the two pieces of tape then are bonded together. When you're all done, it pops off just like double-sided tape. You get one side started, pop it off. Traditionally, one of these two is going to come with the other, and then you just peel it off of each piece, and your part's clean, your table's clean, and, well, it got held down long enough for you to be able to properly run your part. Okay? So if you're going to use hold downs, the CA glue works. We do offer the accelerator as well if you wanted to go that route. The Klingspor tape for the painter's tape. We also have that double-sided here. So either way you go, whether it's a clamp or tape, we've got you covered in the CNC world. Now these also work for a variety of other applications too. So it's not just CNC. Keep that in mind as you're walking through. Now, when you start getting into the different table options, some CNC manufacturers like the Axiom are going to provide you with a strip of MDF already on the table. That's very helpful. That's handy. That's what's called a waste board or a spoil board. All right. Some do not offer that. For instance, the Shark here. The Shark gives you a plain table, and it gives you the versatility to make whatever kind of table you want. No matter what, you're always going to want some kind of substrate on top of this aluminum top that's on your CNC. And the reason being is if you cut through your part, you don't want to cut into this aluminum. So whether you make a strip that would apply on top like that and you run a different fasteners, or whether you make more of a slab style that would be you make the piece exactly what your cutting capacity is and it takes up the whole table. Well, if you do that, then you've got to make your own tracks. So if you go with a strip, you can make your strip wide enough and still allow for a few of these slots between each of the strips, which is helpful for being able to run things like bolts, hold downs, clamps, things like that. So when you start looking at the table options, I prefer the strip, other people prefer the slab. It's really a matter of your personal preference. So if you were to go with the slab, one option that we've seen a lot of folks kind of turn to is the micro jig system. If you wanted to go with more of a traditional slab with just holes for being able to put your hold downs, we do offer a variety of these little T-nuts as well as these threaded inserts, both of which do very well for that application. These would be inserted in from the bottom, and then when you screw down from the top, it locks everything together. These are just threaded in. If you're going to use an MDF surface, I don't recommend these threaded inserts. They pull out too easily. So we've got these options as well as a full array of different wing knobs and star knobs, all kinds of things to be able to help you properly hold it down to your work surface. We also offer these, which if you wanted to stick with the traditional T-slots that come with your table, we offer a variety of these to be able to make your strips. We've got these that mount on the bottom. These are the sliding T-nuts, and I don't know if this will give you a better view or not, but you can see it's got a washer-style head that's elongated, and on the other end, it's more of a post like that. And that post will stick up through there and allow you to really get access through your strip to be able to screw that down to your part. And then just like a T-bolt, what that does is it'll slide in, then you're screwing down to it, and it locks it all down tight. That's the nice thing about the system, and with all the different things that we offer, is it's completely versatile based on how you want to set up your CNC. There's no right or wrong way. There is, but that's all opinion. But so ideally, even if you went with something like the micro jig system and you did a full slab and you went with micro jig, keep in mind with this system, one of the things you'd have to be aware of is if you ever surface that, you would have to rework your dovetail slot accordingly. So just keep that in mind if you went with a system like this. Now, the micro jig, if you went with that, they have a very comparable setup. It's almost like a T-slot, and I'll see if I can't get you a good view of this. They've got these little hardware pieces. This one happens to be a fixture piece with a bolt that's sticking up. They also offer these where it's just these parts that you can run a screw or bolt down into them. So the micro jig is very versatile as well. I use it a lot in my shop, but as far as CNC goes, they do offer options for that as well. Now, moving on from your work piece or from your table and the different tools. So you've carved your piece. Now what? You want to finish it, right? Well, there's things you got to do. Well, first, you want to make sure that you're following very good safety practices. And one way would be to, keep a product like this. This is the Dust Begone mask. Any respiratory product will work well for you. Whatever you're comfortable with, and you may already have it, hopefully. But get you something that's respiratory, because a lot of the woods and parts that you may be cutting, well, you don't want to be breathing that. And some of those, especially some of the exotic woods, can have very adverse effects on your lungs and your respiratory system. And sometimes you're very allergic to them. So get you something that's going to help you breathe properly. But beyond that, there's some other products. If you wanted to do multiple painting options on your finish, we do have a product here called Oramask. Now, how Oramask works is you would either paint your original surface and then you apply the Oramask like so. Once you apply it, then you carve away all of your piece, and then while the Oramask is still applied, and you can see a little example here, this allows you free reign to your actual part that was just cut away. So from there, you're able to paint it, stain it, whatever you want to do, and then when you're done, you can peel the Oramask away, and you're left with a very, very clean surface. And I think I can get you probably a really clean shot right there. You can see that is very crisp. I don't think I had to sand anything with this. I think I just peeled the Oramask off and let it go. Now there's a couple of options when it comes to what you put inside of this cutaway piece. Now, my preference is typically a spray lacquer or enamel. I love, the right one, I do love this Mohawk enamel. I'm a huge fan of that. I think it goes on quick, it dries fast, but again, it is toxic. So if you use that, you want to make sure that you are wearing some kind of respiratory, probably something better than that. So when you get into the finished side, you can do finishes with something like this that are spray lacquers or enamels, and they spray on quick and they dry fast. Or you can go with something a little more traditional. We got a whole array of different milk paints. You're very familiar with General Finishes. This happens to be their Klein Blue. This is a newer line that we brought in from the Real Milk paint. This happens to be their Deep Coral or Deep Sapphire. Yeah, Deep Sapphire. The nice thing about all of these is they're very good, very easy to use. The Real Milk paint is actually was recently certified kid safe. So if you're going to make a lot of wooden toys, this might be a good option for you to look into. They got a whole array of colors and work really well for CNC applications. So if you cut your part away and you wanted to just use a nice milk paint to do your lettering, you could certainly do that. It dries fast, and whenever it's done drying, you simply peel that Oramask off. So this all works together in conjunction with each other to make your CNC experience even that much better. And if you start getting into some more unique things like, say, 3D carving with a lot of different contours and shapes as part of the workpiece, don't forget we offer a full array of Klingspor mops. I'm a huge fan of these sanding stars. I believe in my shop, it saves me so much time having these stars on hand to be able to sand a lot of these parts. Now, I like to use these while the part is still on the CNC. One, it's clamped down, so it makes it really easy for me to do what I need to do. And so I'm a huge fan of these. So if you're looking for anything related to CNC or even any kind of woodworking in general, don't forget, Klingspor's Woodworking Shop, we likely have it and even more than what you'd ever want. So hopefully this gives you just a taste of just some of the things that you could do or look for if you've bought your machine, you got it home, and you're ready to start carving. Maybe these are some of the other tools you want to look at to maybe add to your arsenal. They're all going to benefit you, and I think hopefully this video will help to give you some understanding of what was available and maybe inspired you to get out there and maybe get carving. Well, this is Chris with Klingspor's Woodworking Shop. Most of these things will be available at woodworkingshop.com. If not, you can call us at 800-228-0000. And I'm always available if you've got questions. You can go to our chat line, usually available during the week to answer those, and as well as through phone. And if you're interested in your local, for sure, keep an eye out for different classes. If you're interested in CNC and you want a class at one of your local stores, reach out to that store and we'll make sure we get something scheduled for you, because we got a lot of questions on CNC and classes seem to be very popular. Well, again, this is Chris with Klingspor's Woodworking Shop, and I guess this is You Bought One, Now What? We'll see you later.